It was just another day in Brooklyn. The spilling of blood was an appropriate offering to the denizens beneath the city, whose cries for punition were unending. Eddie Prime Pino was driving his Mercedes Roadster with the top down on the Belt Parkway by Coney Island in the gray November dusk when he saw the emergency strobe lights of an unmarked gray Chevy Impala blare behind him. As he pulled over on the side of the freeway, Eddie reached into the center console and pulled out a Beretta Model 71 pistol loaded with .22 caliber bullets, which he stashed under the driver's seat. Eddie had lived under the certainty of death for so many years that he paid it no mind. The routine danger of the moment didn't even raise his blood pressure. The man on the left had a hearty mustache and portly gut and stood tall. He strode toward the driver's side of his vehicle with a casual swagger. Eddie noted the glimmer of his Glock, which he gripped loosely in his left hand. The man on the right was thin and gaunt and particular, with a clipped stride. He held his service pistol down toward the ground in front of him in his left hand with the safety engaged and held the flashlight in front of his face in his right. Both men had NYPD shields hanging like dog tags from the front of their moth-bitten men's warehouse suits. In the gray gold of the dusk, the thin man's flashlight glared in the rear view, and Eddie turned his head to the right, raising his right hand to block the glare. It happened so quickly that there was no time to react. A feeling like a thick hypodermic needle, a prick below his ribcage. The rumbling snaps of nerves fraying released an icy chill that erupted and transformed into screams of searing hot pain throughout his chest. It felt like the warm water pooling in a fresh bath, which became scalding as the hot water eradicated the cold. There was a heavy metal taste of adrenaline and blood in his mouth. Eddie tried to reach his elbow down for his gun, but he was frozen with shock from the first 9mm round that was lodged in his chest cavity and couldn't move a muscle. Then a second click echoed in his head as the portly man held the Glock to his jaw and fired. It was sudden, final, impersonal, and that made it all the worse. Eddie's head fell, lifeless, to the right side, and rested at an unnatural angle against his right shoulder. Blood splattered across the empty passenger seat and across the circular dials and chrome-covered air vents. Sprinkles of red dots on the crystal-clear, just-washed windshield. In the moment before his vision receded to a black pinpoint, Eddie disbelieved his own mortality. But he was mortal after all, and all was vanity and vexation of spirit in the end. Eddie's justice was unfolding in an office tower in Brooklyn, where the hard-nosed section chief of rackets sat on the mock judge's bench and held court. Don sat on the bench at the head of the mock courtroom in the Brooklyn District Attorney's office and rested his head in his hands, elbows propped on the dais. He was weary of leading young men into battle, but not yet tired of the duty that fell on his shoulders. His crown of gray hair around his round pug's head was the noble head of a battle-hardened knight. Heavy, his head cast a long shadow on the council table. The overhead lights were obscured by the dust that permeated the air like the ghosts of the unavenged. This gloomy November evening. Maybe the trial division isn't for you. If you can't ask direct fucking questions, cogently and succinctly, then I don't think I can help you. Beneath the old man's eyes were hard gray circles that had been with him, so long that the skin was tinted yellow like hardened calluses. Everett tried his line of questioning again. Dr. Isaacson, isn't it a fact that the bullets that killed Eddie were the same 9mm 124 grain plus P ammo, which is the round of choice for law enforcement around the world? Everett asked. Not even fucking close, Don said. What's wrong? Everett asked. One question at a time, Everett. Jesus. Ask about the ammunition. Then ask about how common it is. This isn't a monologue, Durante Don Vecchio decreed. Everett was cross-examining his fellow assistant district attorney, Tommy Madden, who was playing the role of the defense's forensics examiner for the upcoming trial of Detective Rowdy Ray Paulino, the portly 6-foot-tall assassin, who was on the payroll for the Malocchio crime family. A mafia cop. A wolf in sheep's clothing. A dark protector. But what's the problem? Everett asked. He's not your witness. No editorialization. No theatrics. Be a lawyer. Got it? Don said. Or maybe you'd rather go back to the grand jury unit, and spend all day writing up the factual basis for assaults based on corroborating affidavits? Everett nodded and hung his head as he sat back down at the council table. As much as he appreciated the opportunity to apprentice under the great trial lawyer and respected his methods, he also hated the man. He hated his self-assurance and his blurring of the lines, his cold, clinical methods, his scorekeeping. He suspected that Don viewed the whole drama as a sporting event that one judged by the records of the respective teams. The gamification of justice. We are trying to convict a crooked cop of being a mafia hitman. This is not a game, Don said, and they resumed practice. The old master trying to convey preternatural cunning to the neophytes, trying to rouse conviction for the cause. The job comes first, the energy and obsession of the pursuit, the craft. Then and only then is the chance of doing good. Everett wanted to see the hard lines of demarcation, good and evil, but couldn't find them. Brooklyn offered up crooked cops and mobsters with a heart of gold. It was full of traitorous loyalists and alliances among enemies, competing codes, interchangeable uniforms, chivalrous fiends and cruel deputies. And it brought redemption, clemency, and reversals of fortune, side by side with treachery and false worship, the ripping apart of venerated icons, the crucifying of hard-earned reputations, the propping up of the devil's own children. And the captains of justice and the captains of grift ate at adjoining tables at Carbone's Italian restaurant in Greenwich Village, where the sign on the wall read, "Sei fatto," and they were high on their own self-importance, one and all. Each believed they were uniquely suited to rightly determine and fairly judge the fates of men, a role reserved for God alone. But Everett was the assigned prosecutor on whom it fell to bring Ray Paulino to justice. And Rowdy, Ray was determined about one thing only: walking away free. Walking over to the table, Don, the tall waiter in the velvet red tuxedo with bright maroon lapels, greeted First Assistant Diavecchio, saying, "Good to see you again, counselor," and then turned his head to Salvatore Moretti as he poured each a shot of Bianca Grappa, saying, "Good eve, Mr. Moretti." The room was somber and playful, like a formal ballroom, a theater of the aristocracy, a liminal space in which angels and devils met in their Sunday best. The floors of Carbone's were tiled with the same white hexagons and circular green decorations from the haunt in the restaurant scene in The Godfather. It was a marketing thing. Brown leather chairs framed the table, which was adorned with a white tablecloth and immaculate, gleaming glassware. The table was set with high-end stainless steel utensils and porcelain serving dishes with oil and spices for dipping bread. "Chin chin," Sal Moretti said, with his reddened jowl softening into a pinched grin as he raised his glass to his swollen red lips, which looked like two red crayons with the wrapper peeled off. "What's this meat about?" Vecchio asked. "Donnie, we put this guy on the shelf. So, naturally, we think, okay, no need for our friends on the other side to waste a lot of energy looking for answers. Murder needs a verdict, Sal," Vecchio said. "One man's murder is another man's self-inflicted wound. You know what your problem is, Donnie. You're like a bloodhound, always sniffing around and finding things that have been buried, digging them up, and bringing them back to your master, wagging your little tail and thinking you've done a good thing. Like solving a murder? You haven't done a good thing here, Donnie. Not good at all. And I'm saying, maybe let the dead stay buried. What for? So they don't stink up the place. Speak English, Sal. It's not like I'm going after one of yours here. Okay, the guy is a veteran detective. I got my start, made my bones in internal affairs. He's one of ours," Vecchio said. "MMM. Such a Sadducee. Not a progressive bone in your body. Ours. Yours. Mine. Theirs. Possessive pronouns. The nuns used to show no mercy if we got those wrong. But today, in this day and age, in the fullness of time, they are such impetuous things. Who is to say who owns another man? You know what I mean, or no?" Sal asked. "It's about sides, Sal. Rules. You're out of bounds on this one," Vecchio said. "Whoa. The Sadducees wouldn't go beyond the Pentateuch. Where would that leave us Catholics? Try not to be so antiquated. Wasn't thou shalt not kill the, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth commandment? Is that progressive enough for you? Hey, we're friends here, Donnie. Here, let's have another grappa and see if we can come to an understanding, Moretti said. Understand this, Palomine. Ray Paulino is going to spend the rest of his life rotting in Attica, Vecchio said, standing up from his seat. Hey, how about those Yankees? Moretti said, tipping his head and saluting Vecchio. Have a good night, Sal, Vecchio said, walking out into the chill of the Brooklyn streets. Everett sat in Detective Ralph Sakala's living room in Breezy Point in Queens. They were on the take to the tune of about $4,000 a month. A retainer, in case their services were ever needed, Ralph said. And how do you know that? Everett asked. Bank records. And how did you know to look into Detective Paulino in the first place? It was just dumb luck. We had heard some rumors, and I noticed that his vehicle, which has tracking on it, was consistently in the vicinity of these mob-on-mob hits. It raised questions, Ralph said. And were you ever able to confirm your suspicions? Everett asked. Sure. We never got Rowdy Ray to make an admission, but his partner, Jack Murphy, finally flipped and gave us the whole story. Were you concerned about Jack's testimony? We were concerned because if we couldn't protect him, maybe he doesn't make it to the trial. So, we had a pretty heavy protective detail on him, Ralph said. Was it enough? It wasn't. Jack was found face up in the East River with 5 holes in him, Ralph said. Thanks, Ralph. We will go over this again before the trial. And Everett headed out into the streets to meet Don at their usual watering hole on Court Street, O'Keefe's Bar and Grill. It had wood floors and warm red brick behind the taps, but somehow it was the one place in Brooklyn that felt like it was only for the good guys. Don was sitting at the bar in a 3-piece suit, drinking scotch neat and mucking it up with the bartender, Julia. He was the poster child for the general who had sold his soul to the cause, who assumed he was the Lord's fallen angel, but never thought to confirm he was anointed. She was about 20 years younger than him, but Don was single, and he had already pawned off 2 tickets to a Nets game along with his phone number and told her to consider it a date. The way she looked back at him, Everett could tell it was a done deal. So, what's the play, coach? Everett asked. We're good at what we do. You know, Don said. Don waved at the bartender and pointed to Everett, and she poured another scotch for him while they spoke. Sure, but being good is no substitute for having a cooperating witness, Everett said. And our witness is 6 feet under, where he can't tell his story. I mean, really good. And Vecchio gave the look all generals give their lieutenants when they know something that can't be communicated in words. So how are we going to put this bastard into early retirement then? Everett asked. It's a circumstantial case. You know how I feel about circumstantial cases. So how do we wrap it up tight with a nice bow on it and make it a nice Christmas present that the jury can't wait to tear open? Did I ever tell you about the ex-wife from hell? Don asked. I don't think so, Everett said. This is back when I was on the internal affairs docket. Vecchio finished 3 fingers of scotch in one swallow. What happened? We've got this caller. Mickey, an off-duty cop. He shot an unarmed man in an alley. Mafia hit. Well, our boy Mickey was on the take. And we have proof. Bank records show a lot of money that he can't explain. Just like Ray. But there are no witnesses who can corroborate that Mickey is a mafia cop. No one to place him at the scene of the murder. He's got Joe Torre as his defense attorney for God's sake. Reasonable doubt is on the menu. Sounds like a circumstantial case to me, Everett said. So, we do some digging. He's got this ex-wife. A real bearcat. Nearly took the guy for all he had. We followed the breadcrumbs of the finances from the divorced lawyer's forensic accountant. That's where we got the goods on the illicit payments. Okay, so where did the case go? His fellow detectives claim he used to rough up the ex-wife, and that explains their divorce. Now, she can't testify about what happened during the marriage. But turns out that after the ink was dry on their divorce papers, he tried to win her back, made some grand romantic gestures, fessed up to where his bread was buttered. Spousal privilege doesn't apply to statements made after the divorce, Everett said. Exactly. It's all fair game. So, what happened? She testified. Get this, she says, Mickey was one of the devil's own children. She tells the jury how he wanted to take her on a vacation in the Bahamas to the Atlantis. And she confronts him with the fact he pleaded desolate in the divorce case. But now he's a high roller. So, he tells her, don't act naive now. You know where our money came from. That's what happens when you make a deal with the devil. And that's all the jury needed to connect the dots. Isn't that dirty, Poole? Couldn't the defense attorney say she was biased? You yourself called her the X from hell. Of course they did. But I asked her the magic question. I asked, would you say anything to put Mickey behind bars after what he did to you? She says, yes. But then I say, even if it meant lying. And she said, I'd do anything, except lying. I'd never lie. That is where I draw the line. And that worked? Mickey Burke has been behind bars in Attica for 15 years. So, where is Ray Paulino's ex-wife? Everett asked. Vegas. Where else? And you think she knows something that could help? Well, sunshine, we've got trial in a week. Why are you still drinking with me? Don't you have a flight to book? I captain, Everett said and walked out of the bar and caught an Uber to JFK Airport. ***** on a dirty November morning. The Brooklyn streets were haunted by the rousing spirits of homeless veterans waking from the curse. They were full of the migration of corporate zombies headed to office buildings and clandestine meets, and students whose dreams were yet to be beaten out of them by force. The reporters' vans were lined up, one after the next, on the curb by the Brooklyn courthouse on Schermerhorn Street. A group of microphones was set up by the entrance, and a series of snaking wires led back to the vans. In the cool of the early morning, the reporters waited in their vans, sliding doors ajar, waiting for a report from the courtroom or from their beat reporters stationed inside. Inside, the proceedings had begun, and Everett Willard stood before the jury. There was a grade school teacher, an investment banker, a burn surgeon, a famous Broadway actress, a bookkeeper. May it please the court, counsel, members of the jury. This case is about an imposter, a turncoat, a coward. Ray Paulino suited up in his navy blues and his detective's suit under the color of the authority of the state of New York. And on a cold, November morning just like this, he took his service weapon and executed a man in cold blood on the Bay Parkway. And this man's blood calls out for justice. Everett sat down next to Don Vecchio. How'd I do, boss? He asked. How can they not convict the devil's own child? Next story, Lily. How are you? Carnation jumps to meet Lily in the library. His eyes sparkled, just like the very first day they met outside of the castle. Staring with an unimpressed glare, Lily brings his attention back to the book right in front of him. Didn't Originator Sunflower teach you any manners? You're supposed to call me Blossom, Lily. Do none of the flowers learn any manners outside of the castle? Lily knew all of these well before the age of 5. Oops, sorry, Blossom Lily. Wait, who's Originator Sunflower? Shine? Carnation tilts his head at the question. Lily almost swears under his breath. It's simply unfair how much more Lily has to study compared to some street rat. Only you call her that. More like Carnation is the only one allowed to call her that. The look she throws his way sends a shiver down his stem. He would never call her that. Don't you also call Daisy something? Carnation asks. Out of the corner of his eye, Lily notices that Carnation finally picked up a book, one about the foundations of flowers. What a weird choice. Lily returns to his book, which is about the upkeep of lilies. It's Originator Daisy, and no, I don't, Lily chastises. What does Originator Sunflower even teach Carnation? Clearly not manners. Why not? Isn't she also your mother? Carnation puts down the guide, completely ignoring it in favor of this discussion of his. Lily brings his entire fibers to hold in a sigh. Of course not. That's disrespecting her title. Lily closes his book, staring at the flower who's asking a million questions. He's frowning. That's strange. He doesn't recall when Carnation frowned at him. Carnation is the first to look away. You make it sound like being someone's mother is a bad thing. Something strange stirs in Lily's heart hearing those words. It feels wrong coming from Carnation, rubbing him in the wrong way. We are the flower's guardians and rulers of our respective kingdoms. Anything else is disrespectful of what we stand for. Lily states. The answer should be as easy as that. His heart wavers ever so slightly, unlike his voice. Blossoms are only guardians for all flowers, right? Damn Carnation. Damn him for making Lily doubt his words. It's what everyone tells him. It's what Originator Daisy told him. Now here he is, walking around the far too large castle for his tiny legs to ask Originator Daisy if they could be called anything other than blossoms. It's too bad that no one knows where their ruler is at this crucial time. Everyone cares about Lily right until it's about White Lily, about his color. A shadow overcasts him while he searches in the Garden of Daisies. Looking up, Lily already knows it's the statue of Black Lily, his previous life. The person he should have the memories of, but doesn't yet. Originator Daisy promises him that he will gain his past life's memories. Until that happens, all the adults around him give him pitiful looks. Anger flares up from within. Would they ever look at Black Lily with such pitiful eyes? It doesn't matter, because they will regret the moment he regains all of his memories and treats him differently, as though he's a child. Forget about just remembering. He will surpass Black Lily, even surpass Originator Sunflower. Focusing now on a new goal, Lily turns his head to gain some more training with Originator Daisy. She may be strict, but it's to make sure he's stronger. He will be stronger. The halls stretch longer and longer. It's almost as if he's chasing after a ghost. Seeing how no one knows where Originator Daisy is, Lily grabs a fistful of his dyed black hair in pure frustration. Where is she? He hears hushed whispers, the flowers surrounding those talking hauntingly quiet. Turning his head to the noise, he walks and hides behind the pillar carved as daisies. I just don't understand why you care so much that the child is Black Lily. He didn't raise you. Originator Sunflower disputed. Hearing her voice runs a chill down Lily's voice. Is she talking about him? Because obviously you don't. What doesn't make sense here is that you don't even bat an eye in his direction when he's the reincarnation of your father. Instead, you spend all your time attending to a wilted flower. Originator Daisy snarls. Lily tries to smooth down the goosebumps running along his arms. She never sounded like that before. But it's true. Sunflower pays so little attention to Lily, and for what? Just because he looks different from his past life? No, he knows that isn't true. He knows that out of all the originators, only Originator Sunflower sees him as a child and not as an equal. She doesn't see any potential and only looks at him for what he is. And that alone is infuriating. It ruins everything within Lily's world. Don't bring Carnation into this, Originator Sunflower stressed. And why not? You blatantly ignore the gem among the rocks for a dull charcoal, Originator Daisy interjected. Lily's heart warms, knowing that their bond must mean that Originator Daisy has always seen the best in him. Only she's aware that he has what it takes. If you really believe that the child is Black Lily, then you'd know that Black Lily would never value himself over the life of another. No matter what, Originator Sunflower jeered. She must take some gratification to put down Lily at any given chance. And for what? Needing to relearn how to become a proper blossom? What are you trying to imply? Of course he's Black Lily. Originator Daisy seems baffled at the statement. Something disgusting fills Lily's stomach as Originator Sunflower tilts her head ever so slightly. And what if White Lily isn't the reincarnation of Black Lily? Will you abandon him like how all of you did with your beliefs? Hitting the nail in the coffin, they stand there, having a death stare match. With how Originator Daisy's eyes are blown wide and her mouth hung open, the scales fall in favor of Originator Sunflower. Lily doubts he's doing any better. Even if there was anyone who thought that way, they were never brave enough to speak it into existence, much less say it to Originator Daisy's face. Is this the reason for Originator Sunflower's treatment of him? Because there's a chance that he's not Black Lily? He's only 8. His memories can come to him any time, and she dares to assume that they will never come. For what reason? There is nothing to indicate he's not Black Lily, but nothing is indicating the opposite either. Lily freezes at that thought. I didn't abandon anything. If there was anyone who forsaken everything, it was you. All because you never got over the death of Black Lily despite him being right in front of you, Originator Daisy refuted. Anger emitted from her in waves, And only now Lily made the connection as to why the flowers surrounding them are deafeningly quiet. Originator Daisy is terrifying when mad, but Lily thinks Originator Sunflower is nightmarish, especially how she holds it in, as if letting it out will cause her to not only kill monsters. You've all betrayed what Black Lily taught you. He was a guardian, not some embellished gargoyle that you all like to play as. Originator Sunflower bites out her words. The fists at her sides shake violently, and yet they stay still. We are knights, protectors of this land. Originator Daisy makes wide gestures, even daring to take a step towards the ever-burning anger radiating off Originator Sunflower. Lily's heart quivers. Sure, whatever allows you to sleep at night. Originator Sunflower laughs mockingly. She manages to stand still when Originator Daisy walks into her space and stands face to face. The only movement was the furrow of her eyebrows, making her eyes even darker and sinister. For the first time in Lily's life, he fears for Originator Daisy's life. You forget your place, Sunflower. I'm the ruler of this kingdom, Originator Daisy states, eerily calm. Originator Sunflower takes a step closer, raising her chin to her full height. The shadow casting over his mentor feels all too consuming and worse than the monsters. Worse than the fires that kill everything. And you forgot who gave that to you, Daisy. Voice chilling the air. Originator Sunflower turns around and leaves. The shadow fades and Originator Daisy sighs, leaving in the opposite direction. Lily finally falls to the ground, not realizing he gripped onto the pillar for dear life. When did his legs give out? No, that doesn't matter. More importantly, if Originator Sunflower decides to get rid of him, then he'll surely die. My Blossom, you've looked like you've seen some wayward weeds. Some other Originator calls to him. It sounds like Originator Tulip. Wayward weeds would be less terrifying than Originator Sunflower. Up you go, let's clean you up and see if you're fit enough for practice today. Breaks are almost non-existent with Originator Daisy during sword training, but she allows her frustrations to take over when Lily is unable to learn a new technique. Take a break. You clearly need one. She turns away with a hand to her head. He heard something under her breath, but didn't dare ask her what she said. It's awful to disappoint her when she believes in him the most. But her standards for him are far higher than the originators around her. Maybe even higher than for herself. Originator Daisy? He asks, feigning confidence. Nothing is worse than sounding unsure right in front of her. Yes, Blossom? She doesn't give him the time of day to turn around, despite being the one to teach him. Nor does she ever call him her Blossom, but he can't call her out on it. What if? I'm not Black Lily's reincarnation? He asks, holding the quiver in his voice. Thinking back to the look on Originator Sunflower, but this time directed at him, wasn't helping the oncoming fear settling into his bones. Where did you? Originator Daisy cuts herself off, sighing in frustration. Do not listen to Originator Sunflower. She is only an originator in name, and gave up her title as ruler. It's best if you listen to me instead. She looks back at Lily, placing a delicate hand on his shoulders and squeezing them. It should have been comforting, but it fills him with dread. He fights the urge to shuffle his feet around as he looks down. Looking at the ground also means he doesn't have to face what expression Originator Daisy will make. But what if I never get his memories? He asks, almost too quietly. The once comforting hand on his shoulder feels cold and tense. It nearly brings Lily down to his knees with the weight alone. You will, you just need time. Her voice is calm and smooth, but she doesn't hide the frost in them. The air is too heavy for Lily. And if you don't, she finally lets go of Lily, causing him to wobble. He still doesn't dare to look up as his fingernails embed themselves into the flesh of his palms. If only Originator Sunflower did something to scare Originator Daisy as much as she scares him. Then you'll be no better than that wilted flower you picked up. Do you see yourself as lowly as him? She asks, far lighter than the tone she used earlier on him. Almost as though she's far too chipper to diminish Carnation. Lily shakes his head. Of course not. He's far better than Carnation in every aspect. He has to be. Good. Well, I believe that will conclude our lessons for today. Clapping her hands together with a much joyful tune, Lily finally looks up. Now you must practice parrying until the stars guide you to slumber. She beams a smile towards him before walking away. Lily bows his head. Thank you graciously for teaching this blossom, Originator Daisy. He picks his head up once the clicking of her shoes fades away. Maybe she'll trip while walking into a meeting. Lily hopes so. Next story, Alex had a love/hate relationship with their mentor, Professor Chen. On the one hand, Chen was a brilliant scientist who had helped Alex achieve so much. Alex had started their research as a graduate student under Chen's guidance, and Chen had pushed him to be his best. With Chen's help, Alex made groundbreaking discoveries in artificial intelligence. On the other hand, Chen was a demanding and often cruel mentor. Chen expected perfection from Alex and quickly criticized him when he fell short. Chen also had a habit of taking credit for Alex's work, and Alex often felt like he was being exploited. Despite their love/hate relationship, Alex knew that he could not have achieved their success without Chen's guidance. Alex was grateful for Chen's support and mentorship, but Alex also resented Chen's demanding nature and lack of recognition. One day, Alex made a breakthrough in his research. He had developed a new AI algorithm that was far more advanced than anything that had come before. Alex was excited to share his discovery with Chen, but he was also apprehensive. Alex knew that Chen would be critical of his work, and he was worried that Chen would try to take credit for it. Alex took a deep breath and walked to Chen's office. He knocked on the door and entered. Professor Chen, Alex said, I have something to show you. Chen looked up from his work. What is it, Alex? I've developed a new AI algorithm, Alex said. It's far more advanced than anything we've seen before. Chen raised an eyebrow. Oh, and how did you do that? I used a new approach to machine learning, Alex said. It's based on the human brain. Chen leaned back in their chair. That's interesting, Alex. But I'm not sure it's possible. It is possible, Alex said, and I have proof. Alex showed Chen the results of their research. Chen was stunned. This is incredible, Chen said. This is the most advanced AI algorithm I've ever seen. Alex felt a surge of pride. But then Chen said something that made Alex's blood boil. This is going to revolutionize the field of AI, Chen said, and I'm going to be the one to take credit for it. Alex couldn't believe it. Chen was going to steal their work once again. Alex became enraged. No, Alex said. I'm going to take credit for it for once. Chen glared at Alex. You're going to do what? I'm going to publish my research under my own name, Alex said. You're not going to steal my work this time or ever again. Chen stood up. You're making a big mistake, Alex. I don't care, Alex said. I won't let you take credit for my work. With that, Alex turned and walked out of Chen's office. He knew he had made a powerful enemy, but he didn't care. He was finally taking control of his own life and career. Alex published their research under his name, which was met with critical acclaim. Alex was recognized as a leading expert in AI, and they were offered a prestigious position at another university. Alex had finally broken free from Chen's control. He had achieved his success on his own terms. However, Alex's love/hate relationship with Chen was not over. Chen was still an influential figure in AI, and he was determined to destroy Alex. Chen started by spreading rumors about Alex. They accused Alex of being a plagiarist and a fraud. Chen also tried to sabotage Alex's research. Alex was devastated. He didn't know how to defend himself against Chen's attacks. He felt like he was being gaslit and manipulated. One day, Alex received a phone call from a reporter. The reporter was investigating a story about Chen's alleged unethical behavior. The reporter wanted to know if Alex had any information that could be helpful. Alex was hesitant at first. He didn't want to get involved in a public feud with Chen. But then Alex realized this was his chance to expose Chen's true nature. Alex agreed to meet with the reporter. Alex told the reporter everything he knew about Chen's unethical behavior. He also provided the reporter with evidence to support his claims. The reporter published a story that exposed Chen's unethical behavior. Chen was furious. He tried to pressure the reporter to retract the story, but the reporter refused. Chen then turned his attention to Alex. He threatened to sue Alex for defamation. Chen also tried to pressure Alex's new employer to fire him. Alex was scared, but he refused to back down. He knew that he was doing the right thing. Chin's threats and intimidation tactics didn't work. Alex's new employers stood by him. Then, the defamation lawsuit went to court, and it was also dismissed. Alex had finally defeated Chen. He had successfully exposed Chin's true nature, and he had protected himself from Chin's attacks. Alex continued to work on his AI research. He was determined to make a positive impact on the world. Alex knew that AI had the potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems. Still, he also knew that AI needed to be developed responsibly. Alex used his platform to advocate for the responsible development of AI. Alex spoke at conferences and wrote articles about the importance of ethical AI. Alex also started a non-profit organization dedicated to developing AI for social good. The organization worked on projects that used AI to improve education, healthcare, and environmental protection. Alex was finally using his AI expertise to make a positive difference. He had overcome Chin's attempts to destroy him, but he was now a leading advocate for responsible AI. Years later, Alex gave a keynote speech at a major AI conference. He was talking about the importance of responsible AI. AI has the potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems, Alex said, but it's important to develop AI responsibly. We need to make sure that AI is used for good, not for evil. Alex paused and looked out at the audience. I know firsthand what can happen when AI is developed irresponsibly, Alex said. I was once mentored by a brilliant scientist who was also ruthless and unethical. This mentor tried to steal my work and destroy my career. Alex took a deep breath. But I stood up to my mentor, Alex said. I refused to let him take any credit for my work, and I exposed his unethical behavior. Alex smiled. Today, I'm a leading advocate for responsible AI, Alex said. I'm using my platform to make a positive difference, and I'm urging all of you to do the same. The audience applauded. Alex knew that he was making a difference. He was inspiring others to develop AI responsibly, and he was helping to create a better future for everyone.